When we are talking about the energy and recovery, uh, you know, we are living under constant attacks to the energy infrastructure. 4 years, almost the fourth year of constant attacks, and the challenging is really incredible from the point of view of maintaining the system. But we managed to do this. But the situation is really difficult because when we are talking about the peak hours consumption, mostly we are balancing on the import of electricity, getting the electricity from our neighboring country because of the huge destruction. Just to tell the figures that during the previous year of attack, there were damaged up to 10 gigawatt of generation facilities compared to 18 gigawatt peak consumption winter before. But what is important when we are talking about recovery, you cannot recover the country without the energy. That's an obvious fact. And when you are balancing the system on the edge, so you need additional generation for everything to recover, to rebuild, mineral deal agreement, to drill, to do everything. You need energy. And that is the situation which now pushes us, first of all, to think how the generation would look like day after. And the second, what would be the mix? Of course, we are focusing now on the faster solutions. In our goal to survive, of course, the first solution is to repair. And that is, maybe not very, let's say, popular trend when we are talking about the thermal generation using coal, but that is the fast solution to repair the stations because we need them today to balance the system. This is maneuverable generation which is needed today. And I'm very grateful to EU for the decision, the possibility, which is also, again, so we all had to be very flexible in our decisions. Sometimes because it's against some policy, but that is a method to survive for us, and that is the method to survive, just to withstand another day, another winter. Allow to use the money which for the thermal generation, which is not in the goal, but I'm very grateful for that because we are still withstood all the winter and we will withstand another ones. But when we are talking about how, of course, the question whether you now go to Ukraine to invest in thermal coal generation, probably not, and that is probably the logical answer. But when we are talking that we need additional generation, so we need to have some fast solutions, and that is like a lot of projects which we already implemented with support of all of you. A lot of countries, Energy Support Fund, will just today get additional money to the fund, which is already more than 1.2 billion of euros in this fund. And we use also for additional generation, that is gas turbines, gas pistons, that is renewables. That is what we could do rather quickly. Of course, we understand that is one of the reasons, just not only because of the mix and not only because of the additional generation, was that decentralized generation is quite difficult military target for Russians. And, I always advocate this position until day before yesterday. 740 drones per one night. If they would be able to launch so many drones, like up to 1,000, they could destroy any generation. Let's be fair with ourselves. They could destroy any generation. But what is also important that implementing these projects with the new generations, we also start thinking first how to protect. And that is a new approach in Ukraine now. So we implemented a lot of passive protections, constructions. Some of them help, some not, depending on the level of attack, depending whether it's drones or missiles. But now first we are thinking how to protect the investment which you bring to Ukraine. And that brings another question. do we have to invest in Ukraine during the war? Or should we wait until the war over and then the next day comes? And you know, that's, I understand the big investors who, let's say, very carefully looking at this situation and say that probably we should wait or we are ready, guys, but what about the ceasefire, the energy ceasefire, or the end of the war? But the situation today in Ukraine in the energy really allowed you to realize any project, to implement any project, which first could show the resilience of the concrete site, concrete equipment, to show the quality of this equipment. You know, we now have, for instance, gas turbine from all producers of the world, all producers, Mitsubishi, GE, Siemens, they are all in Ukraine, and they all operated in critical conditions, absolutely critical conditions, with blackouts, with the shellings. And it's also give you understanding about your equipment, about your production. So you could test, you know, I really dare to say this because in our war, we are using all type of weapon, and we could see which is efficient, which is not, which is better. The same with the energy. I'm sorry to say this. The same with the energy. You could see now what type of equipment is better, what is more resilient, what is more efficient, how to operate the system in case of emergency. We will have to, after this conference, the beginning next week, here also we would have some energy meetings, how to restart nuclear units after emergency shutdown. And that is something which is sounds crazy because it's a normal situation. It's a normal situation. But for us, it's normal. So because just one shelling, 26th of August, we had 4 emergency shutdown of nuclear units. And that is give us experience with, which probably I would never supposed to have, never ever. And I always said that I hope that no one in the world would need this experience. But the history already shows that you need this experience, even in the peace situation. And I think that the presence in Ukraine today, not to wait until the end of the war, gives you another opportunity just to be more ready. I'm not talking about the war. I hope never, ever you need this experience during the war. But in case of some crisis situation, in case of some, I don't know, natural things which could happen, so you could test your equipment, you could test your knowledges in Ukraine today, and we are ready to share. We are ready to share, and we have hundreds, thousands of professionals who could really do incredible things to maintain the system, to do some maybe not completely technically, let's say, decision, technically approved decision, but the decision which allowed you to withstand, the decision which allowed you to maintain the system, and to provide finally electricity and heat to your households, at least to your nation, to your people. That's why you should believe in Ukraine. You should come to Ukraine. I'm grateful for the message I've heard. Sorry, maybe again I missed the beginning. That's no more Russian resources in Europe, and that's a matter of security of supply for all of us. And what Ukraine could do could really bring a big push to get rid any of the Russian resources, including nuclear fuel. So we know what to do with the partners. We know how to do this. And I'm very grateful to them for this roadmap. I think that is really, there were a lot of talks before, and we were talking. Yeah, there were some steps which everyone ready, some steps, there is a discussion inside the EU, which country is ready for that, or not ready. But thank you for this roadmap. I'm absolutely sure that a genius draft, which should be added, and by the end of 27, we should get rid of any Russian resources. And it's not because Russia started the war. I think Europe already understood what is dependence. You just described the word dependence. But I think it's the matter of national security. That is a matter of national security of each European country. No matter whether its country try to be neutral or try to, let's say, to say something different from the other countries, but that's a matter of national security. And I'm sure even all countries understood that when we are talking about the energy, that is a matter of national security, and the absence of Russian resources in the European market is the first answer to the national security point. So thank you very much.